discover that the spark plugs I was going to run, the same kind that fit in the old E7 heads over there, do not fit in these GT40P heads. That's like all the way in there. As you can see, it's not threading in at all. So apparently GT40P heads have a different kind of spark plug, which everybody else probably already knew that. Probably something I overlooked. So I'm gonna have to go and hunt some of those down and gap them, and I'm gonna go ahead and throw those in before I install more stuff and have less access to that, because that would be really difficult to do that one with the big turbo sitting here. So gonna do that, and yeah, slowly but surely making good progress on this thing. Okay, so I'm back working on the car today, and sadly I'm still waiting for the fittings for all the oil lines and whatnot, but I do have some other stuff to work on and things to tidy up. So yeah, I'm gonna work on that stuff and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here's the lower intake manifold that I'm running now. Here's the one that came out. The biggest thing that I don't like is it's hard to reach the wiring injectors, and just looks complicated with all this stuff right here. And these are literally just here for your heater core. And I'm not going to be running heat. I live in Texas. It doesn't get that cold here, and when it does, I'll just put on a jacket. So the only problem with just completely taking these out is, one, you have to plug this hole, and two, there's a sensor right here, which is this. And this is the coolant sensor for your computer. So it controls the way your car runs partially, and so it's necessary. You can't just take it out. You need it. So what I've done is just get a what do they call it? A reducer bushing. So this will thread into here, and then that will thread into there. Obviously, this is the one that came off, so it's just going to go right here. This reducer bushing threads in, and then this threads in on top of it. So that's all going to work. I just need to get some plumber's tape and tape those all good, so we don't have any kind of coolant leaks. And then probably ready to go ahead and throw the thermostat housing and thermostat back on. And just working on some other small things. I ordered a kit that will put the power steering pump up here, and it has new brackets, which is good because I don't know if I mentioned it when I pulled it out or not, but I broke a bolt in this bracket, and that would have to be extracted and another bolt bought if I were to reuse that bracket. But luckily, this relocation kit / AC delete makes it where you don't need that bracket. So that's the main reason I'm doing that. So as soon as that comes in, I can put that on, and actually I'll have plenty of room to get to the oil sub down here with the power steering pump up here. So I'm happy about that. Yeah, I'm just getting things buttoned up. Little things here and there. I've actually got a whole list of stuff that I want to get done today, so I'm going to get to it. Alright, so I'm doing spark plugs now, and I went and got the right ones. The ones I had before were 3923s, and the threaded part did not reach the part where it threads in on these GT40P heads. As I understand it, the P heads are kind of weird, but you know, a couple people online were saying that 3923s are what you should run. I guess it's what you should run if you don't have the P heads, but if you have the P heads, run the Autolite 104s. I heard a couple people recommend that as well. And the 104s thread right in. The only difference is they're longer than the other ones, so they thread right in and it's no problem. So there's one in there. There's going to be plenty of room for the spark plug wire to not be close to the header. So yep, gonna get these all gapped, gapping them to 0.030, get them all gapped and get them all in. So this is the old thermostat. It's pretty grody. It was actually working, but I'm just not going to take the chance. I went ahead and picked up a new one. They're so cheap, so I'm just going to throw a new one in. And then I was cleaning up the thermostat housing to throw back on top, and it's also pretty nasty, pretty corroded. I was having a hard time just getting the surface clean, so I went to go see what they cost, and it's only like 12 bucks to get a shiny new one. And I think it's definitely worth 12 bucks to save the time and effort and not have to worry about it sealing right. So got that, got a gasket, and got a new thermostat. So I'm going to put some RTV on both sides of the gasket and put it finger tight, and then after it sets for an hour, I'm going to torque it down, and that's looking real nice. I'm liking that, so that's what I'm doing. Little note here for anybody who's doing this kit with GT40P heads. It does work, and you can tighten just about all the plugs pretty easily, except for this passenger rear one. There's not a whole lot of room to get a socket on there. Let's see. Here's the socket I've been using. Goes on the rest of them just fine. Goes on the rest of them just fine. But this one back here, there's no way it'll fit on. There's just no clearance at all. Like, it goes on about that much and the header is in the way. So what I did was I went to the pawn shop and bought another one of these for 50 cents and chopped it up to get the clearance that I needed. So basically you just make sure you're putting the end on that goes on the plug first, and it slides on there. You can get it right on, and then I just take some needle nose vice grips, if that's what you would call these, and then just get a torque on it to get it, you know, tight enough for a spark plug. I just wanted it to be tighter than hand tight. So yep, that's on there good, and I will be hanging on to this tool as long as I have this set up in this car, because that's the only way to do that, and that'll probably be the only way to get it off, other than taking the headers off, which I'm not going to want to do probably. So yeah, just a little note for you guys that are doing this with GT40P heads. So I was going to take these old oxygen sensors off of the old exhaust and put them on. There's provisions for them on the headers before they get to the turbo, on the turbo kit, and I literally broke a socket trying to get these off, and they just won't budge. So I'd have to order new ones, and before I did that I was doing a little research on how much I actually need them, and based off what I was reading, not the most important thing in the world. So I'm going to try without them, and basically what I did was the kit came with one bolt, probably had two, and the other guy probably lost one. Kit came with one plug, I should say, that plugs into where the sensor goes. And to make another one, I just went and got a bolt like this and cut it short, and then just threaded it into the hole, and there it is right there. And then I'll just put this one back over here where I got it. It goes, I don't see it, but it goes right there. And then I actually got an extra one because I need to do the same thing in the mini truck. So yeah, that's a good fix to not have a big exhaust leak if you were running without an O2 sensor. And don't worry, I still will be putting a wideband O2, but that goes after the turbo, so my tuner will need that, and there's a provision for that, and I've ordered one. So these are just for the oxygen sensors, like for the engine. So I'm just gonna plug these and see how it runs without them, and if it's that bad then I'll order some, but those ones on that old exhaust definitely are not gonna come off. So alright, I've just been working away. Haven't really been filming much, so I'll give you a rundown of what I've gotten done. I got the fuel injectors all put back in, and let me talk about this for a second. The 19-pound stock injectors are what I put back in, and the reason for that is the MAF that is going to go with my new injectors is this Pro M MAF right here. Right now, this is not calibrated for those 42-pound injectors. I don't know what it comes calibrated for, but it's not calibrated for those. So when I start it up, it's going to run either rich or lean, neither of which are ideal, and I don't want to be running it for any amount of time in that condition. So for initial startup and testing for leaks and things like that, I'm going to have stock injectors, and then I'm going to put the stock MAF back on and not have the charge pipe connected or anything, just for it to run and get up to temperature, and so I can check leaks and make sure that everything's working right, things like that. And then when I take it to the dyno, I will put the new MAF on and the new injectors in, and then the tuner will take it from there. But I want to be able to run it and, you know, make sure it gets up to temp, doesn't overheat and things like that. And I do not want it to be running pig rich or super lean or anything like that. So that is the reason that those 19-pound injectors are back on. And aside from that, I plugged in all the wiring that goes in underneath the upper intake, loosely put the upper intake and the throttle body on so that I can start mocking up the turbo and the cold side piping. So it's all fitting pretty good, pretty happy with it. Over here, I'm definitely gonna have to trim some on this side because this piece, that's the best it fits. I mean, I guess technically it does, but then if you look down here, that piece is not coming out at an angle that is going to work. Also, I'm going to have to order another coupler because in between these two pieces, I'm going to put this piece. I had to get a piece that was aluminum because the bung that comes with the new MAF is aluminum, and the piping with this kit is stainless, so I just got a 3-inch piece of aluminum and had this bung welded to it, and then I can just get a coupler and put it in line right there. So that's going to be the plan. But yeah, some cutting is going to have to happen for sure.